Ciao a tutti, sono molto contenta di iniziare un'altra giornata di dirette. Oggi avremo un soprano, un giovane soprano che ha vinto Operalia poco tempo fa. And I'm so exciting for this interview because she is a young singer, she's a soprano, and I'm so happy about it. Hello, how are you?
Hello. Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Happy Easter, and I don't know if the
Yeah.
day what after is okay, but we can.
Yes, happy Easter, of course.
And I'm so happy to stay with you because I have see you when you have do it the competition in Operalia,
Yeah.
and I remember this, and I happy because you are young,
For an
and
opera singer, yes.
yes, you are and singer, and I'm so happy about it. Absolutely. We have
It's
speak.
also a huge pleasure for me, to meet you even if online, and to have this chat. I follow your page. You guys are doing wonderful things. I'm always, very happy about all the platforms that are making the connection, between us, the singers, and the audience, or, other singers that just want to, this is how we get to meet each other.
Yes, I think that it's important use a lot of page, and this is our works because it's
Yes.
important start to the for the every single place. No, Italy is so strong now, and now we want to focalize in USA, and after. I want to say that will be a Spain for the person that speak a Spain because South Africa and
Yeah.
person a lot because I think
Yeah.
that it's important for the opera for go in the social media, no, use a lot
Yes.
of the
Definitely, to
media
for us
for
to get more exposure, more opening to the big public. Just let me try really short to switch to my mobile data because I think the wireless.
okay we wait. Thank you for the great job. Thank you very much. Yes, now yes, yes.
Yes, I have switched on the mobile connection because apparently the wireless cannot make it.
Yes, perfect, perfect. And yes, the person see, I see that, okay, it's good use this for the opera. Okay, if you have some question, you can write, and after Adele respond to the question.
Yes,
Okay, I
I mean
start.
you can call me literally. My name is Adela, so it has an international ring to it.
It's okay, Adela. Okay, sorry, sorry.
Perfect.
Okay.
No, no problem. We've just met.
Yes, because because this is because I think in Italy and in Italy not don't use this name, no, and
Yeah.
Adele sì, but okay,
Uh-huh.
so sorry.
Yes, yes, yes. No, no worries.
Okay, I want to start with a question.
Yeah.
When started your passion for the opera?
I have actually a pretty funny story because I have started studying music when I was 7. I went to a music school in Romania. We have specialized schools for that. And I have studied piano for 8 years. Then, after 8 years, I have to admit I did not like practicing the piano. So I switched to musical theory. And then when I was in high school, I was preparing really intensively to become a musicologist. So I was studying a lot of music history. I was doing a lot of music theory, dictate, solfege, and so on. And that was supposed to be my future. And on the side, I was singing a little bit. We had the choir in the high school, and I was singing here and there a little solo. And we had two concerts per year, and that was the biggest events of our lives. And I noticed that I'm doing well, and the people like to hear me. So I started taking a little bit of singing classes in private. But I wasn't very dedicated or serious about it. It was just, to know what I'm doing when I have to do that little things in my choir concerts. And then I had met an opera singer that had just finished her studies, and she came back to her hometown and she started teaching in the high school. And she brought with her such an enormous passion, for music and for opera and so on, that I started being very, very interested about that. And she somehow passed that passion to me, and I started to see what a wonderful world opera is. And then I decided to take part to a little students competition, like, 12th grade, the last year of high school. And it was a national competition, and I took the first prize, and I was extremely surprised. And that's when I told myself, well, maybe it's a sign that this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. But
Wow.
another funny part is that we only had the Philharmonic in my hometown in Arad in Romania, and of course I was going, to all the concerts of the Philharmonic, but we didn't have any opera house. So literally until I was 20 years old, the only opera performance I've seen was actually operetta, the Fledermaus, and it was a touring company that did one performance in my hometown, and I remember not being very impressed by it. So literally until I was about, I don't know, 20, 22, 23-year old, I kept saying, even if I was studying singing, I kept saying that I will be a concert singer. And I will only sing, vocal symphonic and recitals and so on. And that I don't want to sing opera. I don't want to do opera. Opera is not for me.
No.
Well, things have changed. I have worked a lot, but no, back then first of all, it seemed impossible for me to be able to play the characters as they're supposed to be, and to be believable and everything. I had such an enormous stage fright. You cannot imagine. So as long as I was hiding myself, blending with the orchestra and colleagues and everything, it wasn't that bad. But the second I had to go alone on stage, I was paralyzed. So honestly, at that age, I could not have imagined myself doing opera.
Incredible this, because a lot of persons study with the I want to be opera singer when I have 10-year, 20-year, but you say no. I want to make opera. I want it.
No, I literally did not like opera until I did my studies in Cluj-Napoca. This is in the center of Transylvania, and there is an opera house, and my teacher from the music academy, he's a tenor, and he was singing a lot of repertoire, and of course we were going all the time to see him, in his performances. And that's when I actually started, understanding the magic of opera, the flame caught me also.
Yes, and I think no, you thought that the opera was not used for you, but what do you say for the person that think the same, no? For the young that I don't know think no, I think that opera not is for me. What do you say about it?
I say that they have to give it a chance, because also I had all these preconceptions before I actually got to know what exactly is opera and how it is done. So once you give it a chance, once you go to a couple of performances, once you read, everything about before going to a performance, it's really important that you read the story so that you understand better what is happening on stage. Because otherwise it can happen that you go, you're caught between reading the subtitles and looking on what's happening on stage and listening to the singers, and maybe you don't get it, completely right from the very first time. But if you do a little bit of research, I mean, the feelings are the same since the beginning of the world. We have the same basic needs, we have the same basic feelings, and we can all find something that relates to us in opera. Not to mention that in opera is all the strongest feelings. You only have moments of extreme love, extreme hate, extreme despair. So it's, I say it's worth it.
It's completely, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I want to ask you, you have win Operalia, and what do you think about the competition? It's good make a competition, What do you think about it? You think it's good or it's difficult, and the stress in the competition? What do you think about it?
It was, I can tell you my whole experience with Operalia. Operalia is the best thing I've done in my life, the best idea I've had, but I did not expect it to be like this, because people think about competitions, and of course, you never know how it's going to be, you can come back disappointed, it can bring you down, you can have doubts, you can feel like, it wasn't fair what happened there, so, stuff like this. But first of all, I think my smartest choice was to do a competition, an important competition, just when I was old enough and I felt ready enough. Because people were asking me since I was, 22, 23, why don't you try do a big competition? Why don't you try? And I kept thinking, I don't even know what I'm doing with my voice, and with my body and with my, stepping on stage, and it's still too stressful. It's still so many things to learn. So literally I have started thinking about doing a competition the moment I felt, now I know what I'm doing with my voice,
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I also felt it was important the fact that I found my repertoire, because it took me many years to find, my Fach, like they say in Germany.
Sì.
In the beginning, I started like, you know, a young lyric. I was singing, of course, the Susanna, the Zerlina, everything. Then I've built it up, I've worked towards it, that I have a good high range and supracuto, safe supracuto, as safe as it was back then. And yeah, and this is when I have I have been guided to sing soubrette repertoire, and this is what I've been singing for a few years. And it was okay, but it was always, like a question mark. I was singing Queen of the Night, for example. And in order for me to be able to sing Queen of the Night, I had to keep my voice in a certain position. I couldn't allow myself to let it bloom, in other ways, because it was always important that I keep the high F. And I was sacrificing a lot for that. And there were people who were telling me, that's not your voice, that's not your voice, that's not your voice. You have to sing your full voice. This is not your voice. And until you start singing your full voice, you will not have success. And it was absolutely true. So it took another few years until I switched repertoire to lyric with coloratura. And then, of course, to feel comfortable there, to learn how to sing the coloratura, to learn how to support the middle range. It's a whole other world. So it took me a lot of years until I really found my path. And this is the first time ever when I thought, okay, now I have something to show the world. Now I can go and try my luck. And honestly, of course, Operalia is one of the most important competitions in the world. So I have never dreamed about doing it. I never thought I have to go do Operalia, but I am immediately after my studies, I started working in Germany, first in an opera studio, and then in the ensemble of Deutsche Oper am Rhein in Düsseldorf. So that means that I had performances starting September until almost July every year, every season. So it literally meant I can only do a competition, because I started thinking, okay, Viñas, I cannot do it. I have performances. Cardiff, I cannot do it. It's during this season. And so Operalia was a summer competition. I said, okay, I try Operalia. I'm sure I will not make it, but let's give it a try. So it was kind of a, last minute. I recorded everything last minute, like one day before the deadline for the applications. And I've sent, everything raw as it was, video with a pianist from the house. I called him, the evening before. I said, could we record something? What is it for? Well, I want to apply for Opera. I said, when is the deadline? I said, well, tomorrow evening. I was like, okay, don't tell me more. so it was crazy. The first surprise was that I was accepted, between the 40 people invited to go there to Astana. That was the biggest surprise. And then what is very important, because as I said, my opinion is that if you try to cheat, to say so, you might be in trouble. If you go there and you say, it's okay, I'll just put on a nice dress and they will not notice that my coloratura is not so clean or stuff like this, you know? And so I really said, okay, if I got in, then I have to do it so good that no one has nothing to tell me, you know? And also many singers do competitions and many singers also operalia. And I had, I think, 4 or 5 singers that already did operalia in the past. So I literally sat down with them and I've asked them, what did you do wrong? Tell me, what did you do wrong? What would you do differently if you could do it again? So they told me, well, I did not give enough importance to the stage presence, like interpretation. I just thought if I go there and I sing well, it will be enough. Others told me I made the mistake of choosing a repertoire that is not exactly right for me right now. In 5 years, maybe, but not right now. So people were like, this repertoire is not for you. Others said I chose arias that were too easy and then I couldn't really compete with the others. So, I made like a list of, oh my God, what was in my brain those months you cannot imagine. I made like a list, with errors that I don't want to do. And then I started searching for the repertoire. I didn't even have the repertoire for it. Wow. So yeah, I started searching for the right repertoire to present myself, the right repertoire for my type of voice, for my age, and still spectacular enough, for such a competition, for such an important moment. And I ended up, again, one day before I sent the papers with the repertoire, that was, I think, end of April or something. That is when I actually decided what I am supposed to do. And from 6, it was 4 arias and 2 zarzuelas, because I wanted to take part in zarzuela also. So from 6 pieces, I literally had only 2. The Constanze, which I sang also the role on stage, the whole part, and that was very useful. And the Lucia, the Lucia medicine. And then I had to learn Ophélie, Ambroise Thomas, and then I had to learn Puritani, Qui la voce. And this is also why I have decided to take part also in the zarzuela section, because I thought, Jesus Christ, I'm going to the competition with 4 arias, out of which Constanze is super aggressive. I'm screaming at everyone, It's impressive in terms of technique, but I'm not a big fan of the aria itself. And with 3 mad scenes. So people will say, okay, can you do anything else? So then I realized that the zarzuelas are more flirty, more playful, more blah, blah, blah. And then I thought, okay, this is how I can show that I'm not only, the destroyed drama queen, I can only be fun and, entertaining on stage. So yeah, that was my story. It goes a lot of planning into it. A lot of planning. I have, talked with everyone I thought could help me take a decision, regarding the repertoire, how to prepare it, I have done a lot of coachings, with my vocal coach and with my pianist back in Düsseldorf. And this is what I wanted to say with this. If you go there and you're not 100% committed, you might come back very disappointed. But if you prepare like it's the last thing you're going to do in your life, and you have to do it right, I think it's impossible not to have a good outcome.
Wow. Yes.
I speak a lot. I'm sorry.
Oh, you beautiful things. I think, because I think a lot of young that say I try, but it's best. I think don't try. I don't know that.
Yeah.
But you are sure to your voice, to you're strong in the stage.
Yeah. You have to be really, really focused. That's the word. Yes. Focused on what you have to do, focused on what you want to show. I was never, ever in my life as focused as I was with that occasion.
Yes, it's so important. It's so really important.
Yeah.
It's very strange that you say about the repertoire, no?
Yeah.
Because how you can discover the perfect repertoire for the young that see this live? How can find for you the perfect repertoire?
I think first of all, it's important always to be a bit careful. You have to keep in mind that your instrument is still developing. is still, you know, very raw. You did not understand completely how it works. You don't exactly know, you know, what's the effect that it will have on your voice in 10 years from now. So my advice is in the beginning, always take it slow. Always be patient. Always give your voice time to kind of, you know, find its own way. You help it, you know, you try little different things. For example, as I said, I started with literally, you know, the normal Susanna Zerlina. And then I discovered I can sing, you know, the high coloraturas. So I tried a little bit of that. Then I felt how my voice was feeling more and more comfortable towards the middle range. So I thought maybe it's time to let my voice relax a bit, you know, and discover another range. Of course, don't get me wrong, I really think you never do this by yourself, because us singers are so subjective, especially when it comes to our own voices, you know? And if I didn't have people around me, I have my vocal coach, I have my opera director from Düsseldorf, who's a very good connoisseur, you know, of voices, and the pianists that I've worked with, you know, another trusted persons in the business. And every time I've been discussing this, you know, with them, whenever I felt like I have questions, I have dilemmas. For example, I did one audition for an agent, and it was something like my only purpose from that, because I was in the phase when I was convinced I still have so much to learn. This was around 25, and I did this audition with him only because I wanted him to tell me if I'm singing the right repertoire or what repertoire he thinks I should sing. So I literally had like 1 year in my life when I was auditioning for anything and anyone, I was singing to them Queen of the Night, Gilda, Michaela. So, you know, a little bit of everything. That's not ideal. I'm not saying it's ideal, but that was my, you know, my way of finding where my voice feels best.
Yes, we feel that notice your dress, no? This is, no? You
Yeah.
feel, and okay, I can see this, but notice mine, no? This sensation.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we all need as singers, we all need you know, a couple of extra years to ears and his ears to tell us, you know, very honestly and very, very objective how they hear us, what they feel about us. Because as I said, us as singers, oh, you can get swept away really, really fast. You know, you can feel like, oh, my voice feels so good with this. I should go ahead and sing this role. And then you start singing the role, and in the middle of the run, you feel like you're losing your voice because it's too much and it's too dramatic, and you didn't think about, you know, how it will feel on stage. So yeah, that's me. That's my version.
No, absolutely. It's true. And when you are younger, you need to think about it,
Yeah.
because you don't have.
Yeah, you really need to you need to pace yourself. You need to control yourself, and it's no fun. I admit it. It's no fun. It's years long of frustration, but
Yes.
in the end, it's worth.
No, it's beautiful. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, very important. This absolutely. Okay, I want to ask you. You have one theater that you love in Moodle special. When you go in this theater, you think this is home.
Well, for me, concretely, home is Deutsche Oper am Rhein, because I'm there since 2015, you know, and they have given me so many wonderful opportunities. That's where I basically did this change, you know, with the casting director from there. He told me, your voice is perfect for Lucia, your voice is perfect for Constanze, your voice is perfect for Bel Canto. And he was the one who, that is where I started singing, you know, the first big parts properly. In my first year there, I debuted Lucia and Constanze, and it went well. It was, you know, like opening another world for me. And then we continued with what was the second season? Donanna, and we did some more Lucias, and then it was Maria Stuarda, and then Traviata. So that's where I developed, you know, I developed at my pace, and, you know, feeling safe and feeling comfortable. So that is literally home. But then on other hand, my first opera house where I worked was Komische Oper Berlin. So of course I'm very nostalgic when it comes to that. Very, very nostalgic. It was 3 wonderful years in the beginning, and I have learned so much. And lately, I have I have developed a very, very special relationship with Munich, with the Bayerische Staatsoper. I have after OperaLife, the season after OperaLife, I sang Lucia. I jumped in for Diana Damrau, who was sick. So that was another experience. And then they invited me in the end of the season for a production. During that production, it was a premiere, Orlando Palladino in the Festspiele. During that production, I did an extra concert with Anna Netrebko. Then this season, I was rehearsing for the Seven Deaths of Maria Callas, and I did jump in for Jonas Kaufmann, you know, and with this occasion, I did my first ever live streaming. So I love Bayerische Staatsoper. They have a fantastic house, a fantastic staff, a fantastic audience. And every time I think about all the things that have happened to me here in Munich, I'm just laughing. I'm just, what's coming next? What should I expect? You know?
Wow, very beautiful. And I think that it's so emotional because you are
It is.
young and you know sing with a big star of the opera,
Oh,
no?
of course, of course. It's first of all, it's petrifying. You know, before when you think about it, you know, for the Lucia jump in, we had 3 days of rehearsal, so I did have time to learn the regie. It was not that much of a tragedy, but the fact that I knew it was how do you say it, revival, you know, it was the first show of the run, and Diana Damrau was supposed to sing it, and you know, Diana Damrau is a goddess, and especially in Munich where she's at home, and everybody was, you know, it was a sold out performance, and everybody was waiting to hear her, and oh, it was nerve wracking. But then you know, I came to the rehearsals, and there was Piotr Becala and Ludovic Tézier, and they were such fantastic colleagues and fantastic energy, you know, and so encouraging, so reassuring. So, you know, it was funny because I was so stressed, and they were just looking at me like, "Come on, girl, no one is dying. It's not the end of the world. Just do your thing. Stop freaking out about it." But you know, in the theory, it's easy. The actually doing it, yeah. I mean, I don't know how they were when they were young singers, but I'm an overthinker, you know. I'm all the time thinking about everything that could go wrong. Everybody, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It's not easy. It's not easy to be a singer with this mentality, honestly.
Oh, okay, I want to ask you, which is your favorite characters, which is your favorite opera, and which is your favorite author, so composer?
Okay. Well, there's a lot of bel canto that I like, but I always say that I have a bel canto voice, but I have a very small heart. So, so,
I
mm, so honestly, my absolute favorite title right now is Bohème. I could listen to it on repeat morning till evening and cry with them and laugh with them, and I know every line by heart. And so that's the title. The composer is Puccini right now. I know it's such a cliche, but we're human, you know. And what was the other the role? Oh yeah. Well, in terms of roles, I love Violetta. I really, really, really love it. I have read the book, you know, back when I was in the beginning of my studies, and I remember it marked me, you know. I was, you know, what kind of love is there, you know, and what kind of emotions and what kind of suffering. And I was, oh God, I was so touched by it. But then I knew I cannot touch Traviata for many years to come. So it was a very, very, very special moment when I had my debut last season with Traviata. And when I first opened the score, to learn the music, and I was just reading the text, with the music together, but like only mentally. I was on the beach, relaxing, and I was looking through it, and I couldn't stop crying, and I was having all goosebumps, and I don't know, maybe it's a soprano thing. Maybe other people are not that impressed with Traviata and with Violetta, but for me, that's like, the peak of intention, no, 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 not intention, emotion intensity. It's
Yes.
the peak, of happiness, of suffering, of tragedy, yeah. I would say that for now, it's Violetta, even more than Lucia, even more than Elvira. But of course, in most of the parts, because I have been pretty lucky to sing parts that I like and I wanted to sing. So then, of course, they all are very, very close to me and very close to my heart. I love, for example, Musetta. It's so much fun. I wish I could sing Musetta more often. I have sang it only twice in my life, and I am waiting now to see in which direction is my voice developing. I'm 32. There's no secret there. So I really don't know in which direction my voice will develop. I don't know in 5 years where it will feel comfortable. But if the voice will allow me, I would love, love, love to sing some very small later.
The person say right. You are the best, Lucia.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. If they saw me at Deutsche Oper am Rhein, those were some of my first performances ever as Lucia. And I'm
Wow.
I'm reprising it. I'm reprising it next year after a few years of break. So I'm very, very curious how it will feel, and how it will feel singing it again.
Yes, and I want to come back to Traviata, no? Because Maria Calla said that Traviata is for three type of soprano, no? What do you think about it? It's so
I think
strange.
it is a strange role. I will admit that, but it's not the only one who's like this. That is like this, and I would say that it's not for three different voices. It's for the type of voice that can do it all. That
Yeah.
can sing the dramatic moments, that can have the lyricism in the sweet phrases, that can have the coloratura in the exuberant first act. That's what I think. You just need a voice that can do it all. And it's literally not the only part that is like this. It's also, I mean, Lucia goes the same. It starts with the aria that sits higher, and you have the coloraturas, and you have the piano, and you have the sopracuto. Then it gets more dramatic in the duet with the brother, and then the med scene sits really low, really, really low. And then, you have chest voice, you go up. The only difference is that Lucia doesn't have that many moments which are extremely dramatic in terms of emotions, and intensity. And in Traviata, there's the danger. You can exaggerate with those moments. You can lose yourself in the moment, and then that's not good. That's not good. For me, a little part of my brain always stays up and awake and rationalizing everything.
Yes, yes, yes. And he write what new roles at the door.
Yeah. I don't think I'm allowed to say it because they didn't announce the new season. But
Okay.
that is the plan. That is the plan for us to do every season a new bel canto premiere. So that is my focus anyway. In the next 5 years, bel canto is my focus, and also reprising something that we have done in the past. So there is still for us next season. I'm reprising the Lucia. Then at some point I will reprise Puritani. Then at some point maybe I will go back to Maria Stuarda, or we will see.
Okay, perfect. And I want to ask you, you have a very good technique. And what is the most important things for have a good technique for you? The brief, the projection of the voice, which is more important for you?
There are two different ways of approaching it, as I have noticed. I will tell you how my way was. I told you I started as a much, much lighter voice, and that meant the first thing I worked on was the position of the sound, always here where it's seated, how much you open here and everything. But unfortunately, I kind of ignored the rest of it. I ignored the chest resonance. I thought supporting, oh, it's enough, if the voice is there. And as I have evolved, I have understood how important it is, also to open here and to support with the muscles from your back, and how important are the ribs and how important is from where you support and how intense you support, in different moments and different tesituras and so on. And that is how I've done it. There are singers and there are teachers that start completely opposite. They start with the support, they start with how the muscles have to work, with how, of course, I cannot say how it is better to do it, but what I can say that in the end, in order to have good technique and in order for you to sing healthy and to sing well, and to sing nicely, to be able to use your instrument to produce art, you have to focus on it all. I am focusing a lot, and my voice has developed a lot, and also, my career has taken off the moment I understood how to support and understood how important support is and breathing, and the moment I understood how much importance you have to give to the middle range and to the low range. Because, as a soprano, it was very easy for me to always think, oh yeah, acuto, acuto, supracuto, that's the important thing. Maybe a little passaggio. But the moment I started working with this vocal coach that I work with right now. She's a mezzo, and she kept telling me, how important middle range and low are. And I remember in the beginning thinking, of course you say that, you're a mezzo. For me, it's not that important. But then, she insisted, and I was curious. I was always very curious, to find alternatives and to see if what other people are saying is true or not. So I always tried everything that I was told. And if it doesn't work, you put it aside, but don't say no from the very beginning. And this was the same. And when I understood, how important it is and what a huge impact it had on my voice and everything, that's when I knew that, okay, this is the way. Of course, here you keep the position, here you keep the wideness, you keep the high, the high position and everything, the roundness in your mouth and everything, the throat. But then you also have to, and as I said, it depends on repertoire, on what you sing, where you sing, how you feel, which moment. For me, even if in one role, there are different moments that I approach differently, There are moments where I have to feel like my point of gravity is in the chest. There are moments where I have to feel like I'm opening very much the back and I'm focusing on that. There are moments where I really have to go deep and feel like I'm supporting, till the floor. And I really, really think that everything is just as important. And it just depends how you approach it, in which order.
Yes, yes. Okay, I have one other question. Technique or heart or art? What is
For many years, for me, it was just technique. Really, I was like this, I don't even know how to say it. I was like this athlete who just wanted to achieve the performance. And then came the point where I achieved the performance. I started achieving the performance and something was missing, and I was feeling it and the audience was feeling it. And it was like, as I was saying, about Constanze, yeah, wonderful. It's such a show off to sing all those high notes and coloraturas and this impossible aria. But the music needs also heart, and things have changed for me 100% once I understood that, and once I have allowed myself to think less about technique, to trust that, okay, it's there, you know what you're doing. You don't have to think about it 100% every time. You can share a bit of your focus also with interpretation.
And I want to ask the last question.
Yes.
What is the most important lesson that the music have give you?
Oh, wow. Let me think. I think it's about the humanity that it's in all of us, you know?
Yes.
And as I said, that music is really the universal language that we all have. And music is the one thing that brings us all together. It doesn't matter if we're talking only about classical music or not, but it's really the universal language, and it's really where people go, to find themselves, to find their feelings, to find, the people who feel or think like them. And I really think that that's the most important thing in music for me. It's our common denominator. I hope that's right in English.
Yes. It's beautiful. Absolutely. Thank you very much for
Thank
this.
you. Thank you.
It was a very, very pleasure. And
For me too.
I hope that we can organize an interview in the OperaLife magazine.
Sure, my pleasure.
And thank you very much for the advice. And I hope that you can have a very beautiful career.
Thank you very, very much. I always say, if my experience, I'm not yet old enough and experienced enough to teach others, but if my experience is helping anyone, if anyone is going through whatever I went through at my time, then I'm the happiest. And congrats to you really for doing this wonderful work, for bringing us together with the audiences, and especially in this time when we need to be really, really, really patient.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Take good care. Ciao.
Bye. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.